Well, welcome back to the Mud Shop. This is December the 6th, 2023. It's been a while. Life happens. I think I fired the kiln for a bisque fire once in November, none in October. So it's been a while since I've made a video. It's been a while since I finished some pieces. I've been working on an oval set of dinnerware. One place setting is in here so I could test the colors and see what I wanted. The finishing up of Christmas ornaments and things like that. That's what's in here. I fired this on Monday night. It finished about 5 o'clock in the morning Tuesday. Tuesday, yesterday morning. And this is Wednesday afternoon, about 4:30. So it's had plenty of time to cool down. It is at 85 degrees, and here we go. All right. The last time I fired, I had one piece that didn't fit in the kiln. So that piece I put in here. This is a tree plate. This is Georgie's Autumn Foliage in interactive pigments. Put on the lace texture and white back, and then I knew what bluestone I think is the on the edges. So and then I put clear on the outside, and I use Clayscape's Crystal Clear as my clear. It is a zinc free. It fires great. It's always smooth finish, and it is a dipping glaze, but I do stir it well and dip my brush and brush it on, dip my brush and brush it on, just keep it stirred the whole time. So that is that piece. All right. My dinnerware set that I'm working on, I want it to be the Clayscape's Cream, and I'm using a white clay. It's 240 standard white clay, and I do have a texture on it. You can still see the texture. And I'm using ancient jasper on the inside and on the rim. So we'll see how the plates turned out. I will put a little extra cream on this in this spot. The reason it didn't cover real well there, it's covered, but it does show different in that spot. But the reason it did that is because when I poured the ancient jasper in it and got it on the rim, it was real thin and it ran a lot. So I washed it off, tried to let it dry for a while, and then put the cream back over it, but it didn't dry enough. So I'll just reglaze that part and refire this with the next load of the rest of the dishes. So that's the first piece off the dinnerware. The rest on here, I have my witness cones, and I do put cones throughout the kiln, top, middle, bottom. These are 4, 5, and 6. You can see I have 4 is melted, 5 is completely bent, 6 is almost bent. So here, it would be standing up. So this is a hot cone 5. I consider it like a 5-5. So that's what my goal is. And so far, the time I keep up with my timing. I keep up with the fire time. It's 11 hours and 16 minutes, 11 hours, 14 minutes, something like that each time. But none of that has changed. So this is fire number 124 on a Scut 1027. I've had this kiln since October of 2018. And 5 years I've been firing. I've never changed out anything. I might be jinxing myself now by saying that. Never even changed out the thermocouple. I've not had a problem. I've always learned if you don't have a problem, that's not broke, don't fix it. So if there's no problem, don't worry about it. But the minute I see the cones not being equal, then I'll worry about changing something. Anyway, let's get back to the rest. Everything in here, I did a little, I call this a wiffle ball. I did this in the clay puzzling mold, and instead of doing the coils, I just put holes in it with a hole punch. I did glaze it inside and out with a brush-on glaze. This is Amico's Snapdragon. It looks a little more red in person than it's showing on the camera. But, so I'll just put tea light inside of it or fairy lights inside of it and light it up. I have two of them. That's the big one. There's a smaller one in here. And I did a little stand-up angel. This is Georgie's Interactive Pigments, the indigo. And then I dipped this in the Clayscapes Crystal Clear. You see how well that crystal clear works on this. And then I just wiped back the bottom and stood it up to fire. That's my little angel. I cut out one piece, rolled it up, and joined the back. So I'm testing on a piece to count, to make as a pattern, a template. So we'll see. Might adjust that a little bit, but it stands up perfectly. Everything else here, everything is on stilts. Candy canes, I make these a lot. It's been a couple years since I've made any. I didn't realize I was out of them. These pop off. This is called a bed of nails. If you'll Google bed of nails, you'll find them. There are some that's got the nails closer, some that's got them spread out a little further, but since I have small stuff, I like them close together. Also, if you look up bed of nails, you can also find the strips too. These. Now, I did fire one of these one time to a cone 6, and it did not survive. But I fire cone 5.5, hot 5, and they're fine. I've used these multiple times. There's no way to count how many times. I will use my sanding stone and Kemper stone and sand off where these touch the little stilts. I don't want any sharp edges. All right, now my little snowmen. All these are on stilts. And since these were dipped, I put them on stilts. I hand painted each thing with the stroke and coat colors and then just dipped it in the crystal clear. And then fire it on these little stilts. So that's my little, and I just tap it and they come right off. And then I have from Debbie De La Cruz, De La Design Gifts. I bought a cutter, like a cookie cutter, but it's a clay cutter. And get all this back and forth. Anyhow, it's an ornament shape. And I also have word stamps, but I did a little roller on this with the texture of snowflakes. And I did the Georgie's Interactive Pigments, the indigo, covered it, white back, and then dipped these in the crystal clear. And I love this color. It's really pretty on a tree. It's a nice blue color for Christmas. And I'll tie ribbons on these. Just when you dip them, just make sure your hole doesn't cover up. All right, these are also that same cutter, but I used a roller, texture roller. Pick them all up. And each one is on a stilt. I use a texture roller that has like the Christmas lights on it. So each one is a little different because I use the roller in a different way, different spot from the roller. And these are all glazed front and back. Stroke and coat colors. All right, let's go down to the next shelf. Let's see. Get my little book. Turn back a page. All right. I have several of the tree plates in here. This one, ooh, pretty, of course, is ancient copper. And I am so sad that this is discontinued because I know they're working hard on making another glaze to take its place. The materials have just gotten out of hand where they just can't get them or they cost too much to make this glaze. But it is gorgeous. If you'll see, it looks just like copper. I can hear it pinging a little bit, just slightly, but it is cool enough that it's not hurting it. But anyway, here's my tree plate in the ancient copper, and I just do a strip foot on it. The white stuff will sand off of it. That's from the shelves. Anyway, so that's the ancient copper. All right, then the next tree plate, Art Deco green, and then seaweed around the edges. Now, when you put seaweed on something, it just runs. It's like a flux, but it also gives it that iridescent shine to it. So this is Art Deco green and seaweed. And the Art Deco green on the back. You see, it changes colors the darker you get it, the thicker you get it. But this is like 3 or 4 coats here, and then 2 coats of the seaweed around the edge. All right, let's see. Let me pick up these little posts. All right, more of these. Now, these I did not glaze the back. I glazed these with Snapdragon on the front and left the back unglazed. And these words where it says Merry Christmas were stamps from De La Design Gifts, as well as the cutter. All right, more little snowmen. These I made out of this speckled brown clay. It's the 112 standard speckled brown. I wanted these to kind of look like cookies that were glazed. So here's the back of it. Looks like a little brown cookie. And the front of it I made like a snowman face. And then these, just the little snowman, look like the brown cookie. And on the front, I glazed white with stroke and coat white, stroke and coat red, black, and orange to make the little snowman. And they all then have the little band on the hat and a little a green leaf on there too, if you can see it. Those were supposed to be looking like little cookies. I like this. All right. Now these manger scenes, I have hand painted all of them. I leave the back raw, and I will sand them down still, make sure they're smooth. I use the stroke and coat colors, but also I mix a few of the colors. I mixed for the background because I didn't want it brown. So I mixed the brown and yellow and white together to make the background color. And I just kind of float the colors in there. So these have been selling as fast as I can get them in the store in town. So there's my little nativities. Of course, I'll tie a ribbon on the top. Sand them down, tie a ribbon, and they're ready to go. All right, I just hand cut out a little tree and rolled a coil and made like the little tinsel on the tree. Made a little star. I did stick a little hanging thing here. And this is clear on the back. It's nothing on it, just raw clay. And these were stroke and coat colors. And I have a dish here that was made with G.R. Pottery Form's Wally form, the round. See how deep it is? Little dish. And this is Clayscapes cream. And this is on the speckled clay. Now, I did actually put 2 coats of the cream on here, but you can just pretty much see through it and see all the specks. I like that. It just gives an organic look to it. All right, time to lift up a shelf. Get it over here out of the way. Move some posts. Right. And on this shelf, I have some more of these nativities. Another half dozen of them. Here they are. And they're pretty much all the same. And just raw clay on the back. Here's my other sample dish. This is also made out of from a Wally form, GR pottery form, Wally. They're called Wallies because the walls of it are straight up and down like a wall, the sides of it. This one is Himalayan blue poppy on the speckled brown clay, the 112 speckled brown, standard brand clay. Okay, and part of my dinnerware set, the large plate. I'll have to clean the grog off of this, but this is the Clayscapes cream, ancient jasper around the edge. I just wanted an organic looking dinner set. So that's the big plate. And I made them oval. That's a little bit different. Little off the norm. Here's your medium-sized plate with the ancient jasper around it. Stacked nicely. All right, here's the bowl that goes with it. With the ancient jasper around it. Now, I think I would put a little more of the ancient jasper on this. With the plates, I'm doing the whole side on the outside with the ancient jasper, but the bowl was so deep, you know, I did the cream, so that I might change. But this is what the set of dishes looks like. The 3 dishes, 2 plates in the bowl, and then the glass that goes with it. All right, because of that last plate being on there that was so flat, I put grog on my shelf, and before I lift it up, I'll sweep this grog up into a pile here. So I don't want it dropping down into the kiln on top of the other levels. So I sweep it up into my dustpan, and yes, I'll put it over to the side and I'll reuse it next time. I've used this grog multiple times. Just reuse it. It's not hurt. It's kind of like ball bearings. It lets your piece move while it's shrinking. All right, more tree plates. All right, I use the Coyote brand Really Red. Now, this is a red. This is red. All right, though, it's called Really Red for a reason. It's really red. So that's all I put on this was just that one color. I like a red plate. Red, green, copper, and blue. All right, this one is the Himalayan blue poppy. Now, it has splotches on it that lighter and darker in different areas. It is a celadon glaze. Some reason it doesn't, it just splotches, sort of like the crystal, like the clay sage cream, but or the chun blue. So I don't know, I might put another coat of this and see what happens. But every time I use this glaze, it doesn't cover real good for me. So maybe I don't have the specific gravity just right on it. Maybe I need to let some of the water evaporate out and try it again. I'll work on that. So that's 5 tree plates. All right, here's a couple more dishes that'll go with my set. The smaller plate can be used as a dessert plate, and I did a round dish to go under, saucer to go under the cup. All right, getting down through the bottom. Pick these up. And get my, I just put a cone 5 cone in the middle so that I can keep up with making sure that it's a good cone 5. Get these shelves out. GR Pottery Forms has made some new forms. They're casserole forms. And I bought the 9-inch one, and I bought the 13 by 9-inch one. And so far I've made the 13 by 9-inch. It's in here. Several people have been having a little bit of difficulty with them cracking, so we're getting ready to see. Here's my tiny wiffle ball. I call it wiffle ball. I'll put lights in it. Use it for decoration. Here's a spoon rest that goes with the dish set. And here's a topper that goes on top as a lid to go on the glass. See if it's on the glass. So that's one place setting of those dishes complete. The last thing in here is that 13 by 9-inch casserole. Of course, it's got grog on the bottom. I don't even sweep up the grog out of the bottom of the kiln. It stays in there. Now, as far as problems, when you make these, I've seen a lot of people have a difficulty with them cracking. And so when I formed it, I made sure that I was careful with it. And I got it done. And I had a little place on it that looked like it was trying to crack. So I sanded it down and put a little paper clay in it, smoothed it over, and let it dry. When it finished drying, it didn't show as a crack, so I bisque fired it. After it bisque fired, it showed a crack somewhere else on this corner. But the crack was not all the way through, it was just on the surface. So again, I sanded it down smooth till I couldn't see the crack, and I glazed it. And lo and behold, I've got a lasagna pan. Look at my lasagna pan. This is huge. Oh, let me get my tape measure and I'll show you the measurements of it. From handle to handle, it's 16 inches. From inside space, it's 13 by 9 inches. Perfect, Jeff. Good job. He designed this form for this so that even allowing for shrinkage, you would end up with a 13 by 9 inch pan. And so I would like a good heavy handle on it. You can see under it is glazed real well. I did put a texture around it on the outside. And I did check to make sure that the texture was not the reason that it cracked. It did not crack down the wells of any of these textures. I used a stamp and stamped it over multiple times. But the crack that I had in it, either one of the cracks were not from the stamp. So it was from stress from this. I do have a small lip. You can see just a little small lip around the edge. And I think that did help support it. Maybe the weight of the handle may have been what caused it to crack. But other than that, I think we're good. And I'm supposed to bake lasagna in the for church next week, so I might just try this out. See how well it does. So anyway, that is everything out of the kiln. And I have the rest of my dishes ready to be glazed. They're bisque fired. And now that I made the sample clay setting, I'll know what to do. Put a little extra of the ancient jasper on it. Make sure it doesn't run, and do a second coat of the cream. So anyway, that's what I got. I thank you for joining me in Dianna's Mud Shop. And until next time, bye. Check me out on Facebook. Click like and share the page so it might get my name out. Anyway, good seeing you. Have a happy holidays. Bye.